Okay, so now that I've demonstrated just kind of how to build out individual pages, I think it's worth going into some detail on how to change up the global features of the site, including the header, the footer, and say, for instance, the typography of the site. The sort of elements that you can't change through page builder or through editing a single page, but live on every page of the site. So let's go ahead and try to do that. The way you want to do that is in your dashboard, go to the appearance and customize. And then you'll see a few tabs just pop up that are relatively intuitive. You can go to your header options and change the header color and transparency. For instance, if I want the header to be black but sort of see-through, I can do that. And the changes happen live, which is pretty nice. And this is pretty straightforward too. You can change the color of the header. I've put a social button over here, which I actually need to change to white because you can't see it in black. But regardless, you can see that the color just changes super easily. And you can also change the highlight color. I have it set at this random green, which I'm sure we can switch up. That's pretty straightforward. The header text color can be changed, all that good stuff. So I'm going to go back. I don't quite know what's in site identity. Maybe this is the logo. Yeah, the site icon. So I've just loaded an arbitrary Harvard logo, but we can do, for instance, the Arboretum logo. The header size, can change the width of the header. I have it set to about an inch or so, I guess. All that. I think this is pretty intuitive, but I thought I'd direct everyone over to how to sort of change these global features. And then the footer menu looks very similar, as you can imagine. Footer size. Now, oddly enough, I couldn't fit everything I wanted into the footer. So really, if you can follow my mouse, the footer is everything below my mouse here. And above is stuff I built out with Page Builder. And if you saw those other tutorials, you know that my last row in all of my pages is this series of columns with addresses and the search bar. So I'm going to go back, and I think another important thing to go over is this typography bar. Before I do that, I want to show you something that I've done. I'm going to leave this page. And say I go into any one of my pages, let's say my data page, and I go into my text. I want to just demonstrate that when I highlight this, I've set this to be the paragraph font, and I've set, for instance, some of these headers to be header 3. This is header 4. And what this does is it allows you to make global changes to your typography so that when I go into my typography tab that I was just looking at before I entered this page, I can set anything that's set as heading 4 to be a certain font, size, and color. And I can set everything that is set at heading 3 to be any size, font, and color. It's really nice. So if you want to make a change to all of your text on your website, you can do that by not going into these individual pages, highlighting them, and changing the text here, but actually just changing these heading 1, heading 2 in the Customize tab in the back end of your site. So it's really nice. This is your sort of typography quiver that you can select from that taps out at, I guess, 7 fonts. And what is a big help here is that I've installed Google Fonts. It's a plugin called Easy Google Fonts, and that gives you access to just a ton of stuff to choose from. So I'm going to exit out of that page, and I'm going to go to my customize page where I just was. And I'm going to go to the typography tab, and I'm going to go to default typography. And you can now see what I was talking about. The paragraphs font is here. The heading 1 font is here. If I go to data, and I think I said something like heading 3 is in here. So I don't know if you caught that change, but my data resources I tagged as a heading 3, and now it is changing accordingly. So it's really nice to just create all of your typographical changes and create a sort of typographical look and feel to the whole site, just in this back end function in the customize tab. And like I said, Google fonts are in here, so you just have a ton of stuff to choose from. I actually just am noticing this appearance tab. So, it looks like you can do all sorts of fun stuff here. Font size, positioning, margin. Yeah, so this is a really nice function. And actually, when I cancel out, it's just going to erase all those weird changes I made. And this isn't as global a change, to use that word again, but the header photos of each page can be changed pretty easily, but there's a little trick to it, so I might as well show that here. I'm going to go to all of my pages. Each of these pages has their own individual header photo. I'm working on changing this so that the header photo is a slider. But for the time being, if you go to, say, editing your data page, like I said, the top row in this page builder menu is my header photo, if you saw that last tutorial. And what I mean by that is if I go into this row, I'm editing the row, and I've just added a spacer here of 450. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Just swap the digits there. So the spacer is 450 pixels tall, and you might be wondering, oh well, where does the image live, or where is this image, because I don't see the image here. If I go into, I'm actually going to close out of that. If I go into editing the row, the image is actually going to be the background image to the row. So if you can imagine, it's stretched all the way to the left and right, and it's filling this entire row. So I don't necessarily want it to be inside of a widget. So if I click this widget, I don't know how many times I can use that word without laughing at myself. The widget background image is actually empty. It's just, there's nothing there. All I've done to the widget is add the spacer. And what you want to do anytime you want to add that sort of expansive content from left to right with an image is make sure you set the background image to your row. Now I can change this. Let's just change it to something else for the sake of the demonstration. This looks as good as any. I've set it to a cover, which is important. And if I preview the changes, it should pop up. There it is. If I want to change the height of that, I think I did this on the previous tutorial, but say it's just too tall, I can do that just by changing the height of that spacer that's in the widget. Easy enough. Another thing that's possible is to actually, maybe if you'd like to split content with photos. So say you have a body of text here, and then you could potentially add a narrow a photo to split the text. I mean, that would look something along the lines of just moving this accordingly, and you could put text below here just to maybe add more large photos to a page. But for now, I'm going to keep this at the top. Oh, that wasn't it. Preview the changes. One thing I'm noticing now is that I have a total of 4 data pages in the header, which is not good. And what I want to do to change that menu is go to the Customize tab. Actually, I believe it's in Menus. So Appearance, Menus. And this is just a nice interface for deciding what pages you want to include in the header. And let's see, how many do I have here? I don't want this in there. Looks like you can make sub-menus. I'm trying to determine where the delete button is. Delete menu. This is fun. So I can remove it here. And it is removed from my menu structure. All right. So that's just a quick overview of the more overarching features, looks, and typographical feels of the site and how to change them. And I will pick this up on another video.